Welcome back to another first impression, this time for the anime Secrets of the Silent Witch. Synopsis on any list: Monica Everett, the Silent Witch, is the world's only practitioner of voiceless magic, a veritable heroine who single-handedly fended off the Black Dragon of legend. However, the young prodigy is actually super duper shy. Yep, turns out she only learned voiceless magic to avoid speaking in public. Ignorant of this, the Seven Sages have placed her on a top secret mission to guard the second prince. Can Monica keep it together as she contends with both social interactions and the evils targeting the royal family, or the young royal in this case? Now, only parts I do disagree is ignorant of this. Now, the person that puts her on the mission is called Luis, and he seems to know exactly how our main character is behaving, how he can more or less convince her to do his job, because initially it was his job, but he pushed it on her, which is already interesting. But this one was a very interesting show, very enjoyable. So we have our main character, Monica Everett. She is very shy, very introverted. She doesn't like to talk to people. She doesn't like to be the focus of any event. She just wants to be home in her little hut. She just wants to do her little mathematic and just feel left alone. Now she has to be in this academy and she has to guard the second prince, which is a little bit hard for her, at least. Additionally, she can use voiceless magic, which is interesting. The anime does make a point of that most people would just, if they are shy, they would try to combat their shyness, to grow, to develop as a person. And she just went the other way. She was like, how about I just don't? I just go the other way. I'm just going to learn voiceless magic, and now I don't have to talk to people. Yay! And she did succeed. Now we do see her fend off the... We don't really see the Black Dragon itself, but we do see her fend off a couple other dragons. And that one, this is where we see some of the magic she can wield, which look very impressive, very awesome. The animation is very nice, very good. The main character, I do like her a lot. She is very shy. The anime does liken her to a squirrel, which, if I can believe the subtitles, that is, which does fit somewhat. She's very shy. She tries to always be a little bit on the safe side, a little bit, off the social interactions. We do see her friend, or at the first 3 episodes, what she seemingly made a friend in, and I like this character a lot, which name I have already forgotten. Lana Colette. I like her, Lana, a lot. So there was this specific scene where, Monica is now in this, academy. She's now part of the classroom. No one talking to her because she's just not socially able. Everyone is, keeping a little bit away. However, Lana is coming in and she, interacts with Monica. She tries to get her to open up, being like, hey, try to a couple different topics, try to talk to her. Problem is, Monica is unable to really reciprocate. She's not even unable to answer really, which, we get to see Lana make a real effort really go through different topics, try to, get her to open up, try different approaches. However, Monica's unable to really, reciprocate at all, which then brings Lana to, be more or less defeated, and she gave up. It felt very realistic. This is probably one of the more realistic ways I have seen anime characters behave, because she did try. She tried different approaches, nothing worked, so she gave up. We also see that she has some baggage, in quotation marks, and is not, seen well in this academy because of that, which means we do have some interesting characters already here. We also get to see the second prince, and he has like a couple people around him. Those, in my opinion, seem a little bit more cookie cutter, a little bit more what you would expect, especially the second prince. He's beautiful, he's like gifted, and yada yada yada. So those at the moment, three episodes in, seem more cookie cutter. Can always develop, we will see. And all this is then tied together by this, little mystery. Who is after our second prince? Who is doing this? Is it the first prince or their faction? Is it someone else? How exactly is all this happening? It is very interesting. This could be a nice little mystery, plus like our character trying to grow. At the beginning she used voiceless magic, so she doesn't have to grow. However, now she's thrust in the social environment. She now has to adapt, and we will see how well she does. She also has a little familiar, Nero. You see here, a little cat, which they also have an interesting connection. And it seems like she's able to talk to him fine. However, there was one interaction where she was unable to, which is interesting. But I want to talk about this a little bit later, because this show it seems like it does a very good job showing you that, as example, Monica, she likes to be in her hut and do his little mathematic stuff. She has a lot of books, a lot of papers, which is very strange, because I looked at this and I was like, okay, I'm just going to accept it. However, there seems to be a deeper meaning we learn later, which is interesting. It seems like there are a lot of little parts that seem like, okay, we just have to accept this, that there may be something else going on. But overall, very enjoyable. Definitely a show you should at least check out. AniList has it at 77%. My anime list has it at 7.9. I would say 3 episodes in, I would say 9 out of 10. Definitely check it out if you like these kinds of shows. What do we have as genre? We should probably check. I should check AniList. What do we have as genre? Adventure fantasy. Wow, thank you. That is very broad. But yeah, if you like we have magic, we have like a fantasy setting, we have a school setting, some mystery, potentially romance, I don't know at this point, and a very well done show. Definitely, I would recommend checking this one out. Now, spoiler wise, again, spoiler warning. So in the hut, we see her doing all these papers and scribbling stuff down. We don't really know what exactly she is doing. However, we find out later that she had a father, which is one of the parts I never really question. I don't know why, because we get introduced to a character, and if the parents are not introduced, I'm just going to ignore the parents ever existing. I don't know if anime has, taught me that, but in this case, we see a flashback of her father who had done some research. Now, this is interesting because the research he was explaining, hey, I'm doing this research. I don't know if this is going to end in something useful. I don't even know if I can do it in my lifetime. So my first impression was, hey, she just continued his research. Okay, not too far-fetched, sure. Later we see that she was at some kind of book burning, which would then tell me what I feel like happened is something happened with her dad. People found out about the research. They, I don't know, don't like the research. Someone didn't like it, and they burned everything. So I assume she has more or less restarted his research, and that is what she is doing in her free time. That is my assumption at this point. We also find out that something happened with her dad, and it feels like that she is the reason, because we get to see a scene where she is getting berated and potentially attacked by some old guy who is saying that it's her fault that something happened to him, and it's her fault that she told something she was unable to keep quiet about some part that then, went against this guy and her father in some way. We don't really know the specifics. However, this would explain a little bit why she is unable to really socially interact. Because she probably has learned that if she talks, this could be bad in the long run. So she, seems to be unable to really open up. So those things are very interesting. It seems like what it felt like, because she was a child, that her dad did some research and, was talking about the research with her child because she was interested in it. And she picked up some stuff and was telling it to someone else. And whatever the content was bad enough to ruin someone else's life. And they then blamed her and the dad. Potentially something happened to the dad. And then it felt like, from all the information we have, that some nobles decided, hey, the dad is responsible. Probably took him away and burned all of his research. Which then, leaves us with a more or less broken child that is unable to really speak anymore to other people. This is also Nero the cat. If he's in cat form, she can talk to him, no problem. But he can transform into a human form, and then she cannot talk to him anymore. She's unable to, speak normally. So she has an aversion to like human beings, which is interesting idea. Additionally, we have the whole mystery. We don't really know what exactly is happening. However, everyone involved with these more or less attacks on the second prince, they all have like a red glint in their eye. So someone is manipulating everyone. Now, we also heard that mind magic is a thing in this world, but using it has some potential side effects. And this one was just thrown in. Again, seemingly this is like a hint for us, the viewer, to, hey, this could potentially be part of the story. So keep it in mind. And I'm assuming that is what whoever is behind the scenes is doing, like mind magic people. It was very interesting. I like Lana. She's very nice. She's one of the most humane characters I have seen in anime, which I like a lot, because she's not a saint. She's not just good. She can also be, you know, here can also be a little bit off-putting. But I just liked her trying to connect with Monica the first time. You know, talking to her, hey, you are from there. What are the latest trends? And Monica not really, you know, able to reciprocate. And then Lena's, you know, changing. It's not Lena, it's Lana, right? Lana. Changing her approach and be like, hey, look at this. My lipstick is all the rage in the capital. You know, trying from, hey, you try to tell me, okay, it doesn't work. I'm trying to tell you, hey, maybe we can now interact. Maybe you don't want to, you know, divulge information. So I'm going, you know, I'm going to put a step forward towards you. Monica still unable. And then she's like, she then gets berated by other people, which also, because this is, we see her is the berating bothering her in the scene, so it is affecting her in some way. So she's like, okay, approach 1 didn't work, 2 didn't work, let's do 3. And then she decides, you know, to, one of the things at the beginning was her hair, why she is wearing a braid. So Lana then goes and makes Monica's hair. So this is already the third approach, like, hey, I try to get you to say something, you know, let you talk and I'm listening. Okay, it didn't work. Okay, I'm going to talk and you listen. Maybe that works better for you. Didn't work. Okay, I'm going to try to do some skinship to, you know, do something good for you in the hopes that, you know, we can get closer. It also didn't work because Monica's unable to answer, to really say anything. So she did 3 different things that were pretty well thought out and none of them worked. And then she was like, I don't know what to do. Okay, I guess this isn't working. And, you know, she left. She gave up and left. I really like this, you know, this whole scene. It is very well done. Very well done. Apart from that, only part I really did not like is the Black Dragon of Legend. Because we get to see the Black Dragon and it's said, hey, we only know like 2 times he was in the history books. And both times he just destroyed a bunch of cities. So seemingly the Black Dragon is always the same. He never gets defeated. He also did not get defeated in this instance, supposedly, from the subtitles. However, we don't really see the fight. The Black Dragon is just gone. We do see Monica then fight a bunch of these Wyvern Drake thingies, which looked awesome. She was summoning a big thing and a lot of magic circles. It looked really awesome, really cool. I would have liked to see her fend off the dragon though. I'm gonna be honest. Other than that, the second prince is part of the student council. He's the student council president. Then we have like 3 other guys, I believe. At least 2 in the student council. And this is the problem. They do feel a little bit stereotypical. The second prince is beautiful. He is seemingly smart. He's sociable. He is able to, you know, he's like the standard prince archetype. You have like his right hand man who's like the code type. He's also code. He's exuding mana supposedly and making everything cold. Supposedly unknowingly. At least that is what we are supposed to believe at this point. And he is a little bit off-putting. He does have a somewhat colder personality. Then we also saw like a little, you know, more little cute guy. So, and we also have a girl in the group, but most of these, they feel like what you would expect. You see the character, you know what you get in the anime world. But they could stay developed. We will see. Again, overall, very enjoyable show. Definitely check it out. Could be a really good show.